Welcome back to Redneck Home Comics. Again, I'm Daniel. I'm Mark. And we're joined again by Dave. I'm sorry.
David.
David's going to start us off again. Fantastic Four, number one.
Number one.
All right.
Well, a lot of you know that Fantastic Four for a while was discontinued, I guess is a good word to put it, by Marvel. And this new one that came out, I was curious about how the read would go, and I picked it up, was looking through it. I've got it on my pull list now, so that tells you a little bit of something about what I thought about it. The comic starts off, artwork is good, story. You've got to get into it a little bit before it starts to make sense about what happened with Reed and his family. But a lot of it, you don't want to give away spoilers. It was a good read, but it was kind of slow developing with what happened and where the family is at. Other than that, it was the parts that you had that were engaging. Some of the things you really got a heartfelt feeling from the Thing and finally Johnny Storm on what had happened and how they felt about the disappearance of Reed and Sue and the family. The book kind of sucks you in at the end of it. You finally go all the way to the end of the book, and you're in the last page before you see the full Fantastic Four group, and they're still not together. But like I said, it starts to draw you in toward the end of it. It picks up pace a little bit, and then it gives you a good send off to the next one. It makes you you have to get the next one because you want to know what happens after the end of it. One of those kind of cliffhanger moments. But definitely one that I would recommend to pick up if you're a Fantastic Four or a Marvel fan. Definitely one to pick up.
Now, how'd you say the artwork was?
The artwork was pretty good. The one I had last week that I did, the artwork kind of seemed rushed on this. This is more detailed, a little more on what you would expect in a comic. Just didn't feel rushed. Had a nice flow to it, nice color, nice graphic. Artwork was really good. But like I said, without giving too much away on the story, overall, really good. Probably 8.5 overall.
Story and art.
Story and art, yeah. Definitely one that you want to pick up and get involved with. So, but it was a good read.
I have not read it, so now you've got my curiosity up as to whether or not I need to go back and pick up number one. And
Yeah, me too. I've never been really a Fantastic Four kind of guy, but we talked a little bit beforehand,
and it even has at the end of it a update on what is going on with Dr. Dunn.
Okay.
And so that's a good little ending to it there. So
Yeah, it seems like a lot of comics lately has been falling short with the like you say, the cliffhangers.
yeah,
I love it when you get to the end of it and you wish that you had the extra or the next copy right there,
yeah,
just keep reading.
yeah. And if I had the next one with me today, I would probably end up being on episode 4 or 5 right now,
Okay.
just to see how the story plays out.
I know that we have several subscribers to it, and they love the book.
Yeah.
I know that. It's been 6 months in right now,
Yeah, I think we're on issue 9, I believe.
so we may be close to a year in.
Yeah.
It's been running longer than I remembered.
Now, is this something you've been keeping up with? Just haven't had a chance to read, or
Yes. The story been keeping me busy, and 7-year-old granddaughter.
oh yeah, life.
Yeah, yeah. Disney Junior and Paw Patrol.
Yeah, I'm sure we all have our back stock that we need to catch up on. I sure do.
I'm way behind on a lot of things.
I mean, we have those few that we have to read right when we get them, but Red Hood.
Yeah, that's one of my must reads. My Nightwing series, I stopped at number 50 was the last one I read, and you know what we're up to now. So I'm that far behind, even though I keep it on my pull list. So
Yeah, but that's definitely one that, once you get in and get, the story will pull you in, but you definitely want to get the next issue and go from there.
Okay.
So,
Well, so you prove it.
yeah, definitely approve it. Definitely a must read for Fantastic Four and Marvel fans. Even if you're not a Marvel fan, this is just a comic across the board that would be a good read.
Now, what age limit would you?
There's nothing in there that would keep a 10 or 11-year-old from.
So a good starter comic. For
Yeah,
a kid. Okay.
very good starter.
and since it's slow in the run, it would be an achievable pickup
Yeah.
for the kids.
Come in, pick up all the current issues. Definitely, artwork wise, you've got the variant covers for the wedding issue. If you can collect all of those, that's a good one.
That She-Hulk cover's hard to find now.
Yeah, and that is one of the things that I can tell you. It's not a spoiler because this was something going on for a while. Ben Grimm finally does ask her to marry him, and she says yes. So
Well,
that was a good one.
there's one up and a good rating on it. So we recommend it.
Definitely.
Hope y'all enjoy it.
All right.
Thank you, David.
You are welcome, guys.
All right, next up we'll have Indy Yank. I said it with a straight face. Proud of myself. As he takes his time coming in. I'm looking at your shirt, making sure we don't have no background problems this time, but Psycho Stick is going to be a good one.
Okay, what do we got this time?
This week I've read White Widow, one that I'd been waiting for a while to come out. Story-wise, good. The art I do have a big problem with, just because the creator did 4 pages that are phenomenal artwork, very beautiful. The guy that does the rest of it, it's kind of lackluster. But the story, it's kind of, I thought it was going to be more like a Spider-Man with her suit, kind of because that's how they portrayed her leading up to it, but it's more organic, almost like the symbiote suit, which is an interesting take for a spider costume.
Now this was done through a startup.
Yes.
Right? So this was initially not a book that was due to be published out by any company. It was kicked over with a Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah, something like that. Like the company that produced it, they even show the other series that they are publishing, and I think they only have like maybe 10, 11 other properties to like their entire company at the moment.
Well, who ended up putting it out?
I think it's Absolute Comics. Right? Yeah, Absolute Comics Group is who's publishing it, and issues 2 and 3 are coming out soon, I believe.
Were you looking forward to them, or you going to?
I'm interested to see how the story develops, especially because, like I said, her suit with the powers that she has, I'm interested to see how they incorporate it, because it does a lot more different things. Instead of Spider-Man, it's really like you're watching Venom in action, or more along the lines of Carnage, just because there are some parts that are actually pretty bloody in the comic with impalement and everything. So, I mean, the art direction in it's good, it's just some of the art's lackluster.
Was it the storyline good enough to pull it along until they figure it out?
The storyline's good, you can see where they're leading up to it, because the way that they start the book off kind of in the middle point, then backtrack to give you like a little quick backstory on the character, and then pretty much where the comic actually starts up is where it picks right back up after she acquires the suit.
Okay. Well, there have been several comics out there. I'm sure Mark agreed that started off kind of slow, and then they've found the rhythm and just went off with it. So we might have one there. I haven't read the book, but I've read some of the backstory to it, and it seems like a pretty decent.
Yeah, if that's my only gripe, is if the artwork was consistent instead of it, because he's only done 4 pages on it, and the other artist, the pages are side by side, and it is, I guess the best way to put it is looking at Rod Fell's work next to Jim Lee's artwork. Like, there's that much of a stark contrast between the drawings.
Well, the major interior of it that I saw, the good photos, reminded me a lot of, going back to your independent roots, the original Image comics that were creator owned and everything. The art was on par with that when it was good. When it wasn't, it wasn't.
Now, I wonder why they switched up art style in the middle of it.
Well, I'm thinking on this one that once he got his money, he only had a certain amount of time probably to get it published, and had to pull help in to get that done.
And I mean, because like I said, even though the artwork's lackluster, the way they incorporate the bodies in the panels, the story does flow good. It's not like the pictures are flat. It's just seeing the 2 Jurassic artworks is what.
He might have started off saying, this is what it could look like. If you'll buy my comics, let me have the money to be able to.
That's
to
one way
finish
to pull it off.
You buy it, this is what it look like. If you don't, this is it right here.
Now, what age group would you recommend this book for?
Late teens, because like I said, there is some blood. There's like impalement, like literal spikes going into people's heads, the blood spraying. So, not for young kids.
We know Image, or Independence rather. Marvel and DC, they still do the little quotations, on most of their stuff, unless it's like the Max series and stuff. How about the language in it?
Yeah, there really isn't any harsh language in this. It's still pretty toned down for that. It was just more of the visual aspect of it. Is what
so, what would you rate the artwork? I mean,
as a whole.
As a whole.
As a whole, 7. If the creator had done the artwork alone, it probably would have been a 10 across the board. But the other artwork, it just brings it back
that
down.
Big of a difference.
It is that drastic of a difference.
I'm gonna have to open it up here in a minute, just look at it. That's got my curiosity up. Storyline.
The storyline, it's very well done. I give it probably 7.5. I am interested to see how it goes on down the road. Not as much as I am with Shredder in Hell from last week, but I do see a lot of potential in this story, because they still left it very open. Even at the end of this first issue, you don't know why anything's happened. It's just pretty much her getting the suit and running away.
So it has you kind of interested in what's going to happen next.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Anything you want to add?
No, those books were not easy to get. And
everybody went crazy over them.
It actually took me a little while to pull them into the shop, and I believe that number 1 right there is a second print on that one. Completely different cover. I think a little lower print run than the first one.
Yeah, because I actually got the 2 covers from you. I went on that one for display, just because the other one's a lenticular cover, and even just in regular light, it is so bright that I was afraid you wouldn't even be able to see what the cover artwork looks like on the feed. But I mean, the cover art is amazing art, and what they're showing the next issues are going to be, the artwork's good. If you just want to get it for like cover artwork,
there's several people out there just gets the comic just for the artwork, and I don't blame them. I've picked up a few myself just for that reason.
The art germ stuff.
Yeah.
Going through.
So what I saw of it is a beautiful cover. Well, Jonathan, we appreciate it. You got anything else you want to add? That might have been the wrong question.
Just
It could have been.
because my problem is I know what book I'm reviewing for next week, and that is a book that I had said I would never try to read again after I bought it.
Now, we're talking about this one right here.
But
Let's don't give away what we're doing next week.
yeah, trust me, I don't want to give too much away because I don't want to talk about it.
Alrighty. Well, we'll let you go then. Thank you, John.
Thanks, man.
Next up, we got Black Hammer. With Aquaman #1. I asked him to review this one. I kind of dogged Aquaman last week myself, and I didn't want to sound like I was a bad guy, so I asked Black Hammer to review it, so he's going to give us his review of that now.
Well, what can I say about this comic book that's not bad? Is absolutely nothing. Like, I'm so happy I get to dog this online because it was just probably one of the worst books I have ever read. From horrible dialogue to some really awful, really truly awful artwork. They made Arthur look like a G.I. Joe dog got stomped on about 50 times. The artwork is horribly rushed. The framing in it, from page 1 all the way to the end, I could not get into this book. Not to mention, just some of the things that weren't quite right. Like, as you read this book, you get to meet this British naval officer who's, like, at least 5 times in this book uses the term crikey, which I don't know to anyone that's out there listening. I'm trying to be biased, but I kind of put that as an Australian thing.
Yeah, I had the same feeling, bud.
And then when we're talking about a series here, they've changed artists 7 times. 7 different artists. They've changed them 9 times. And the art, I'm guessing the art probably doesn't improve from this issue #1.
Well, now, I read up to 32, bars Jonathan's copies. There's an artist, Chow. I love his artwork, but he lasted like 3 issues.
Yeah.
And then they changed him up, so I just didn't get it.
Yeah. But it's really hard to say anything other than this was a horrible read. It was an eyesore. And, as from page 1 where it's opening with Mara and him doing some kind of strange Friends coffee scene or something going on, just kind of weird. And it didn't open up nicely. It didn't give you no background on what's going on, what's leading up to what they're getting ready to do. It just jumps right into it. You have no idea what's going on. And, in the #1, when I read a #1, I look for backstory. I look for, something telling me, this is what's going on. Draw me into it. But they were just like, hey,
Bam,
here
there
I
it
am.
is.
And I was like, don't come at me like that, bro. And all in all, I would say I hated reading it. And
Well, I made my
I
feelings.
was mad at you.
Well, I made my feelings pretty clear last week.
Well,
But the thing that really got me is you can see the potential that Arthur has.
oh yeah, it's there.
And if they put a writer behind him that would actually let his potential be shown, I'd be first in line to get the comic.
Because in no way am I dogging Aquaman as a hero. Because I do like Aquaman. He is underrated in my book. But this comic book, if anyone didn't know Aquaman and they were just to pick this up and read it, it would completely ruin their outlook on the character.
Yeah.
It would just completely trash him. And to me, it's not something that first time wants to pick up.
Well, see, that was my big mistake. When I first done it, I was doing the reviews on the Green Dragon's page.
Yeah.
I read the first one, I done a review on it. And I did. I mentioned it'd be a good starter. Yeah, I read the second one, and I retracted my statement.
Because not only did I read this, but I read the Rebirth. And also sucks. This is just a crappy storyline.
Well, I told you 1 through 32 sucked.
Yeah, they're bad, and I don't think I want to read 2 through 32. I couldn't bring myself to do it.
Well, I kind of skipped.
This guy.
Have you ever read any Aquaman?
Not modern. No.
I don't recommend it.
Going back to the '80s when I was younger and was reading different stuff. The Aquaman, the Tempest run was really good. You know, I mean, it was. So, I mean, a good friend of ours, Lee, Haley, he loves Aquaman books, and I'm not going to read it because I don't want to throw my opinion.
Well, Jonathan is another one. You know, well, you saw last week he threw that out as his tasteful credit for his comic books. But you know, I'm honest. You know, and I'm glad you're honest.
Yeah, it looked like Mir picked up Ursula's clown from The Little Mermaid and like went crazy with it. Aquaman's suit looks like, how would I say it appropriately?
Well, you said herpes.
Yeah, he looks like he got
will be
like
honest,
infested with like a super form of herpes. It's so blotchy. It's like the Thing, you know. And I think Aquaman. I think a detailed. You know, he's a monarch. He's a king. I expect to see
The royal.
Yeah, I want to see the royalty in his costume, like you would. Like, not saying that I enjoyed the movie too much, but like in the movie, that would have been,
Yeah.
And I understand this is comic book, but that was horrible. It was all around bad. Mara looked horrible. All of it, it's just, I did not enjoy it. Artwork, I'd give it a 1 because 0 is not on our scale. And the read, I would give it a 1 because 0 is not on the scale. I didn't enjoy it. I don't recommend it.
Well, I don't either.
This is like,
There's several out there that probably would, but I just didn't find it appealing at all.
opinions aside, this is my opinion, so no one, please don't be bashing. This is my personal opinion. I didn't like it. I didn't like Rebirth #1 of this series too. It wasn't something I can get into. Like, I was falling asleep on the bench trying to read it. Yeah, I'd rather read the newspaper because it's got pictures too, I'm just saying.
All right, well, there you have it. A big thumbs down. But we think Black Hammer.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate you for reading.
No problem.
I won't do that.
I won't
to
do
you
it
again.
again.
Well, just a short story. He tried his best after the first couple pages to find something else, and I kind of pressured him back into that one. So
It was peer pressure. Peer pressure made him do it.
all right, so we're up to ours, ain't we?
Well, I want to introduce what we have all decided is this week's cover of the week.
Well, let's show them both, and we'll give it what we done.
Okay. This is what we picked as the cover of the week.
Can you sit?
Punisher #11, Battle Lines variant. Everybody in the shop kind of agreed that was probably the best cover of the week. Now, not to say that some of the other Battle Lines variants are not beautiful books, but all of us, being fans of Frank, really enjoyed the cover. None of us have read this particular book yet.
No, we're just, like I say, this is just the cover. But like I say, it's a beautiful cover. But we did have a hard choice. The next one up,
Deathstroke #43.
is it. Again, beautiful cover, but the majority of us agreed that it's a little darker than it needed to be. You really couldn't see much detail on it unless you got it, right there at your face. It was a hard decision, but we went for the Punisher.
Yeah. So that's our cover recommendation for the week from everybody that you have seen up here on camera, plus the tech guy.
But either one of them, if you wanted to buy them, throw them in the frame. They both look good up on the wall.
They'd be beautiful.
Yeah.
Either one. But the Battle Lines variants are just, for the most part, superior artwork.
Yeah, and the good thing, you don't have to really, unless they're like a 1 in 25 or 1 in 50, they're about the same price, or not the same price. So if you can catch them in your store or here, better. But yeah, the both beautiful. And that one, I'm gonna take home with me.
I'll set it back up front right there so everybody can look at it as we go.
Alright. So you've got Deceased.
Deceased,
You wanna
number
go first,
one.
or you want to do the Avengers? Yeah, I don't know.
Let's do Deceased.
Okay. New run, Deceased number one. I loved it. You know, the first page, you open it up, you know, and it don't really catch you, but as soon as you turn that second page, you're into it.
Yeah.
Full blown. And it keeps you hooked all the way through it. Storyline, it caught me off guard. I was expecting a good read. I just wasn't expecting that good of a read.
I have to agree with you 100%. That and that are what comics are supposed to be.
Oh, I agree 100%. Yeah. Now, downfall, wasn't impressed with the art.
No.
The art, I would give a low 7. You know, I mean, I wouldn't give it good with a 6, but a 7.
Well, you may go low 7. I'll go 6.9 on it because had some of my favorite characters in the book, and they weren't done the justice that they deserved.
No. Even that, like I say, when you first open that second, or when you open it up, it just gives you a short dialogue of what's going to happen. You turn the page, and there's your characters. Yeah. And before you even start reading, you see several things that they've done wrong in the artwork. But like we said last week, once you start reading, a story will pull the artwork through. It could be the worst artwork in the world. I'm not saying that is, but the storyline and it ended perfect. It had you so built up that you just didn't want to. I was flipping. No, don't be over.
Yeah, trying to get some more panels in.
Yeah. But storyline 10.
If not a 10, it's a 9.9.
Yeah.
This is DC's run of the horror book with superheroes, and I think that if it carries through, the story keeps going the way that it's going right now, it's going to be a big hit.
Yeah. Well, I know I'll be getting every issue. Catch you here, and maybe other people is going to have the question. We noticed the second issue is going to have one of the copies going to have Red Hood choking. Now, I heard somewhere that's just going to be a Midtown.
That's a shop exclusive to Midtown Comics.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Any way you can get them?
I can order them from Midtown.
I hate to throw out another company name, but that was a beautiful cover.
It was, and to any of my local people here that want one of them, we'll post it out either on the Green Dragon website or the Rednecks on Comics site so that you can see it. If you want them and you come in and you want them, we will try to get you one ordered in.
Yeah, like you mentioned, we do have a Facebook page now, Rednecks on Comics. The E's are 3s. Facebook wouldn't allow Redneck to be in the title, so I had to work around that. But it's up and running. I loved it. I did. The funny thing was, I was reading that one as he's reading this one, and he looked at me and said, you're going to love this one, you're going to love this one. I said, well, it's going to have to be a whole lot better than this one because this was killing it, and when we switched, well, we'll get into this one before I give away spoilers on it. Savage Avengers number 1.
It's hard to believe actually how good that book is. I mean, how can you beat Conan and Wolverine in the first few pages? I'm not going to tell you what happens because brand new book, no spoilers, but it starts off good, it continues good.
Yeah. Well, the whole background to it, you've got Punisher, you got Venom, Wolverine, Elektra, Dr. Voodoo, Conan, all these, and that's a heck of a team.
It is.
But storyline, I'm gonna give it a 10. Well, I'll drop down to 9.9.
Yeah, I'll go 9.9 with it too. The The art was actually a little better in that one
It was.
than
It was.
Deceased was, and I would probably give the art in that one probably a 7.5.
Yeah.
But it's hard to beat the cover art on either one of the books, and Deceased is going to have horror movie homages.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to pick up the It cover. I had that one put aside for me. Yeah, I don't think the storyline was as good on this one as it was the Deceased. I'm hitting the mic. But I believe the artwork was, which leads us to the next question: which one do we pick?
We had this discussion before we went on camera, and we couldn't decide then. As much of a DC fan as I am, until I read issue 2 of that one, I'm going to have to give a slight edge to the Savage Avengers this time.
I want to pick that one. I really do. Just because that's, what I'm reading, and that's what I collect. But I'm going to give it a tie. And the reason I say that is because I want to see where they go.
Yeah.
So I'm going to throw mine out at a later time. I'm going to see what the number 2 brings them.
That extremely understandable, because the only reason I gave a slight edge to that one is because the art was just a little bit better.
Well, see, I thought the storyline was better there and the art was better here. Not to saying, and the rest of it, to me, the storyline compared to the art and the art compared to the storyline, or vice versa, if that makes sense.
Hit your local comic shop, guys. Pick these books up.
Oh, both of them. I recommend both of them myself. That's going to be a limited run, correct?
Be 6 issues.
6 issues. Have they decided what they're going to do with the?
I have not heard on the Savage Avengers yet.
Well, Punisher started off with a 4 run, and it jumped to a 6 run, and then it spread. So I'm hoping that's kind of what happens there, because it is a good book. But yeah, I can't pick a winner.
I want to see how Deceased comes out in number 2, because it leaves you right there.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
You want more of that book right
Well,
there in a second.
After it ends, you got a couple of pages advertisement, and I done like a 2 or 3 double takes just to make sure it was that good. But again, that one's just. I was impressed with both of them.
Yeah.
I've been anticipating that one a lot longer than this one, and like I say, I want to give that a clear win, but I can't. I just can't know.
No, and we had initially decided that we were going to preview 2 completely different books, and then as I was going through and bagging and boarding all the new issues, which we do here, they're inspected before they go on the shelf to make sure there's no damage, and they're bagged and boarded and then put on the shelf. That makes it easier on the customer and everything else. But I decided while I was doing that these were the 2 books we were going to do. So Daniel didn't have much of an option. I just brought him in and kind of threw him down on the table.
Well, this will make Josh happy, Joshua Ferguson. He kind of threw out what he wanted of these 2, and I was like, well, Mark's already I said we might be doing the Deceased, but we had another plan for this one. But when you brought it in, I was like, well, I'm kind of glad that's what I was wanting to review anyways. But anyways, we thank you for watching it. I want to start off with saying thank you to Mark. This was his baby, his idea. I know we're only on show number 3, but I'm enjoying it. I hope everybody else is. I can see this going pretty far. I'm thankful that he brought me in on it. Let me take part of it. Not only is he our local comic shop person, but he's a police officer for the sheriff's department, puts his life on the line, so he's out there protecting us while we're able to read our comics. So I want to thank you. I want to thank the guests, all over the people who comes in, our tech guy, Black Hammer, Dave Johnson. I'd mentioned that Terry'd be here, but he kind of fell under the weather.
Yeah, Professor Terry got little sick on us and wasn't able to make it tonight. As a matter of fact, he feels so bad that he asked me to go ahead and pull his stuff for him and hold it in his drawer, and Terry never does that.
No, he's usually here about when the shop opens on Saturdays, ain't he?
He is.
But we want to throw out, we've got a Comic Con coming up, June 8th and 9th.
June 8th and 9th. Dragons Mountain Comic Con.
Yeah, our second one.
Second one.
Name change, but it's still our second one.
It's here local, and we had the opportunity to move it out of town, but that's not what we wanted to do. We wanted to be able to keep it as local for the local people here and for the surrounding areas. So that's what we decided to do. So we went into a slightly smaller venue this year, but I believe it's going to work out better for everybody.
And we want to give a shout out to our troops. God bless y'all. We appreciate everything you do. One of Mark's friends was going to show it to his unit, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So
big shout out to the 776
we
Maintenance
appreciate you guys.
Battalion. I got a lot of friends out there right now overseas doing what they do best.
And that's, they're giving us the right to sit here and review comics. If it wasn't for them, we might be in some sweatshops somewhere. So we're very thankful for you guys. Love y'all. God bless you. Anything right good you read lately?
Well, the best thing I've read sitting on the table right now. I mean,
Well, besides this,
the new issue of Super Sons came out. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but as we've talked about before, it's been a fantastic run.
Yeah. I still haven't read the Jonah Hex issue yet. I'm falling behind.
And some news that I heard earlier in the week, and I posted it on the Green Dragon site. Chewbacca,
Yeah.
who we all grew up with, he passed away over the last few days, and that's a childhood hero for me right there.
Yeah, it was just one simple voice, but it made an impact on me. Everybody does, imitates the voice. I'll do it, but I ain't going to. Do it for us, Black Hammer. Off screen.
That
was
good.
freaking awesome. All right, how about you? Give us one, tech guy. Come on, just pretend. Jonathan, you want to give it a shot? How about you, Dave?
Not after that.
Yeah, but there's nowhere to go but up from there. My dog was dying one day and it sounded better. But anyways, no, there's your comedy. And I do want to say something. Get it off my chest. We post this around on Facebook. We got some friends, got some groups. We was reported inappropriate behavior, whatever. They never did say why. But I'm going to say it again. This show, if you get butt hurt, this show ain't for you. I mean, we appreciate you ones, the support. Have several people say we're funny, loving it, enjoying it. But yeah, if you get butt hurt, you might as well not even watch it. Because we're just a bunch of guys that want to welcome you into our family and share our love of comics.
Yeah, and that's what this is all about. I grew up reading comics. My first memories of comic books were actually my dad buying the books before I could even read for me and reading them to me when I was a little kid. And, Dad has since passed away, and I have kids of my own. My 7-year-old is a huge Green Lantern collector, and my 2-year-old runs around the house screaming Batman all the time. So,
well, my 4-year-old, he just turned 4. He's got a better Spider-Man collection than I do a whole comic collection. Been buying them ever since the store opened. His family. He was setting up his shop. He had a little bit smaller shop or place than this when he first got here. But he put a Spider-Man graphic novel down on the very bottom when he was setting up. And my son was running around. He saw it. That was the first Spider-Man thing I'd ever bought him. And it's been all uphill from there. But no, we enjoy doing this. We hope you all enjoy it.
come out and check us out at Comic Con if you're close by.
Yeah.
We'd love to see y'all there. We're going to have Albert Morales is going to be there.
And he's actually going to do
He's going to do a show with us the Friday night before the convention, and he will be sitting probably right here in between me and Daniel, and he's going to be discussing a new project he's working on and some of his past projects that he's been working on.
We're going to do a live show from the Comic Con. Well, not live, but we'll do it live there, then post it to YouTube. We've got a women's kind of night showed up. We're going to have some ladies join us to do their reviews. Even the ladies love comics. Yeah. So
let's touch on that DC Year of the Villain real quick.
Okay.
Because it's a 25-cent issue. It's a good spot to start off at for anybody. Good for new collectors to start picking up, and it's going to run through several books throughout the rest of this year, and it's hard to beat a good villain. You can't have a good hero without a good villain.
No. Well, I was going to say, I read the Batman 23.3 where they done the villains covers. I read Penguin the other day, and Penguin's just a bad Mama John. And it shows in that one. It shows them who the Penguin really is. They kind of thought but that was the new 52. So if you ever get a chance, we've got some. He's got some here. But those 3D covers just amazing. Now, is that kind of going to be the same premises as what they did back in the new 52?
It'll be something like that, except Lex Luthor is going to be leading the.
Yeah, I saw they even had the Batman Louse is going to be in it.
So it should be good. Keep your eyes out for it. We will probably try to review some of those books, unless they keep doing things like what they done to us this week and putting out two of the best comics that I've read in a long time.
Yeah, that's just like I said. I couldn't pick a winner. Oh, tomorrow here at the shop, Free Comic Book Day. Got several.
Got quite a few.
If you ain't into comics yet, that would be a good time. You come in, get one free. Don't have to spend no money. Then it's like a drug addiction. You're just going to start paying out for everything you see. But anyways, we thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for watching. Hope that we can continue to bring you a good product here. We're going to try to do this once a week, every week, so there should be 52 episodes by the time we finish up our year this time.
Yeah.
So,
thank you. Good night.